Hello and welcome to the Just Another Castle podcast. I'm your host Matt, and with me this week is our resident gaming journalist Eli.
How's it going, everyone?
And our retro aficionado Unoclay.
It's not the 100th episode. Mark it, people. This is not the 100th episode.
It's like
That's
a
not
limit.
an excuse to not have it. It's not an excuse to not have an intro, Unoclay. Stop making excuses.
It's like our episodes are like a limit. This is like 100 minus 1, and we'll forever remain infinitely close to yet away from episode 100.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah.
We're just going to go backwards. It's going to be 99 this week, and then next week it'll be 98. And then when we feel like we're getting closer, we'll just go back upwards.
Yep.
But
Yeah, it's a minus world thing, dude. That's all it is. It's a weird Nintendo type thing. So yeah, don't sweat it, right? Like people that were excited for the 100th episode.
Yeah, that's your fault, Unoclay. You're hyping this thing up. I'm like, I'm not prepared for this.
Well, we got some ideas, but like, first of all, we got a problem here. Maybe you're not hearing a fourth voice, and you're a regular subscriber, and you're like, where's that Mike guy? He's funny. I like how he hates everything. And, you know, Mike is a guy that does his own man. Now, I'm saying his name, and he's like kind of like Beetlejuice, Micah Juice. He could show up any second here, just drop in, say something, how he hates something, and then disappear again. So you never know. But that's a problem for the 100th episode. We got to have Mike, and he's just totally MIA right now. So, yeah.
So to listeners, I wasn't really prepared to have anything this week. I had some ideas looming, but I didn't really get to go over anything. So what'll probably happen is next week is going to be E3, so that's going to be a no-show for that. It's just going to be filled. And then it'll probably be the week after. I'm just going to name, whenever I'm ready, call it the real 100th episode. Something like that.
Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother with weird numbering conventions. I'll just do that as the title and be like, here, we got it. And I'll make sure I have Mike there for sure, because he's obviously part of the podcast, and we got to have all four members.
Sort of, he's part of the podcast.
Yeah, well, he's a co-host.
Yeah. I'm just saying, but this guy, if he's listening, let's give a shout out to one of our hosts, Mike. We're recording right now. Oh, geez. Yeah. So, Hey, what's the big news in your world this week, Matt? We got to ask you. This is, we usually start with what we've been playing. Let's just start at the top. I got to give you the lead up to you. Matt, have you been playing anything this week?
So I haven't. It's actually pretty funny, but I'll get into that. So I finally bought a Switch.
What?
Yeah. So it was funny.
What?
Yeah. So the day after the podcast is, I think, when I got it, or maybe it was the day after that. Basically, I got up not that morning. I was waiting. I got up, I think, at 8 or 9 o'clock, and I was waiting for several hours for something to pop up because I have all these notifications. I had my iPad in front of me, so if an alarm went off, I had that going, and then my computer as well and stuff. And it didn't go off. It's around 12:30 or so. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna go have lunch. I still have my iPad with me, and there's a split feature on the newer iPads where you can have two apps playing at once or open at once. So I'm like, well, I have the browser app, and then I'll just watch YouTube, and if the notification comes on, I've tested it, it'll just cut out the YouTube video, and then I'll hear the sound. So that'll all work out. Apparently that's not the case, because I end up getting an email from the website. It's like, oh, it's live, and I went over and rushed, and there was one left, and I tried to get it, and it's like, nope, it's gone. I'm like, I hate you, this stupid thing that didn't notify me. And then an hour or two later, I was like, oh, well, it's sometime later. Maybe I'll check, call these retail stores and see what's up, because some of them, it was around that time to check. And then nothing came out of that. I went to just check on the website for the Now in Stock website, just out of a whim, see if it's up. And it was actually up right then, and it was 30 seconds before any of my notifications could notify me. So I was like, oh, shoot. So I'm getting this right before it's live on the site. So I went and got one. I don't remember if it said how many were left. But yeah, I got one right there. And I prepared because apparently on Amazon, you can only buy a Switch if you have Amazon Prime, which is kind of horse garbage. But I was able to get a free trial anyway, so it doesn't really matter. You just got to wait until they ship it and then you'll get free shipping. But yeah, it was crazy, and now I have one, and it was crazy because I was so excited, and then I posted things on Twitter, and then I realized, oh shoot, this is Friday, June the 9th, not Friday, June the 2nd. I'm like, oh well, I guess I won't be able to try arms out. That kind of blows. And it even said on Amazon's site like, oh, these should be in stock back by the 8th or whatever it was. I'm like, well, that kind of sucks, but you know, at least I have one for when stuff comes. And then it eventually changed. It's like, yeah, it's on its, like, after I was like in the middle of posting that tweet, it's like, yeah, it's on its way. I'm like, oh crap, it's coming. I'm gonna play stuff. This is awesome. So,
just to remind listeners who didn't tune in last week, and we kind of covered this, but a lot of people aren't so familiar with those stock websites. Which website did you use to like alert you that the Switch was in stock? Which one were you using?
It's called Now in Stock.
Now in stock.
Yeah,
right?
it's I think it's .net.
And then you just set it up to like for an item that you want to like, you know, find or like that you're looking for that's a hot topic, you know, whether it's a Beanie Baby or it's a Amiibo or it's a Switch or whatever it is.
Yeah, so I don't think you can actually post like whatever. I don't think you can just say, oh, I found this random website, let's see if it'll like track it for me. I think they already track them, and then you just choose which ones you want to track or not track.
Okay.
So I don't think I could add Best Buy to it, but they had like the Source and some other websites there, and like Walmart and crap. So you basically look if a product is there and then see if you want it. Also, before I get on, because I know my friend might be listening, I've played 220 hours of Zelda Breath of the Wild over the span of 3 months. So I felt he reminded me.
How many hours again?
220.
That's insane.
Yeah, it was. I checked bi-monthly, and the first one was like 85 hours. The second one was 77 hours, and the last one was like 58.
So you're rivaling the highest number I've seen. I think I have like 15 Switch friends now, and one of my friends has you beat, but then you'd be the runner-up, like because he has like something like 250. When I looked at him one time, like I had mentioned, he must be going for Korok seeds because,
oh my gosh.
I mean, if you have that many hours and you certainly weren't going for Korok seeds, maybe it's just like a different play style. Like some people take longer and mess around more than me, so. Not
to delve on Zelda long, but like the first 30 hours was just exploring. Like I didn't bother doing dungeons until 30 hours in. And by that point I was like, okay, I want to like progress the story. But I think at least 10 to 20 hours was also for recording footage for my video. Because there's a lot of like trying to find certain areas or recreate certain moments or things like that, or just standing there while the game's playing, just so I can like test the recording sort of thing.
Just marveling at the goodness of Zelda, just staring at it like it is so amazing.
So there's a lot of like downtime with that, but yeah, basically over 200 hours.
Now that you have a Switch, like, and you're like, but you don't have Zelda on it. You've been playing Zelda, as we know, on your Wii U. So, like, what have you been playing? Like, if you don't have Zelda for it, obviously.
So that's where the funny part comes in. Not really anything. I downloaded some demos. I'm actually going to turn my Switch on so I can get used to it. I tried I made a Japanese account and tried the Dragon Quest Heroes demo. It doesn't seem all that fun. It has nothing to do with the language, because that's like irrelevant to the game pretty much, or at least to know how to play it. I don't know. I didn't really care for it. I didn't really like the camera controls. I'm not sure if that's because of the joysticks, or I'm pretty sure it's just the way they set it up. It moves way too quickly and I don't know, snappy. I don't really like that. But
have you played Dragon Quest games before and the other Dragon Quest games in the past, or is this your first time?
No, so this is like the Dynasty Warriors ripoff, like Hyrule Warriors, that kind of thing.
Yeah, it's not real. It's not real Dragon Quest.
No. It's just attack waves of enemies. So I played that. I didn't really care for it. What else did I play? Oh yeah, you're not gonna like this. I played Blaster Master Zero, the demo for it.
I saw that you were playing that the one night. I wondered, what did you think of it?
Yeah, I don't really like it. So there's the first level, at least in the demo or whatever, there's precise platforming segments. So there's like 3 platforms, and then there's gaps in between, and then underneath it is spikes. And once, as far as I'm concerned, once you get to the spikes, it's really hard to jump out for whatever reason. I've jumped out before, but I don't know, it doesn't really work that well. But the tank is like slides quite a bit, and
flippy.
Like I'm used to Mega Man where it's like you press it and then it stops on a dime, and this was like, no, you press it and then you like wait. But I'm like, this doesn't really work because the platforms are very narrow, so it's hard to like be able to stop yourself. So I didn't really like that. And then there's the
problem. That's interesting. I definitely didn't run into whatever you ran into there. That's unfamiliar to me. I know what you mean about the slippy tank. Here's the thing about the Blaster Master game that you played the demo. It's way too easy, and then they released a patch that's like live already so if you bought it now, you would have this built in. I didn't, but you can't even play hard mode till you finish the game, which makes it kind of pointless. Like it's really easy, like the game. And so when you say, oh, there was like a flaw, like the control, I mean, you're talking more about controls basically. To me, it's like anything that would make me die would make me happy, even if it was falling in a pit, because like I never die. You have to self-limit. It's almost like if Mega Man was super powered and like a couple of his weapons were OP, you just have to like decide not to use them yourself, because you will just walk through enemies. It will just be like, there's nothing that can stop me here. There's so many save points. There's so many power-ups. Like I like the game. I think it's well made, especially aimed at people who remember the original Blaster Master series fondly. Which if you don't have like a ton of nostalgia for NES or like any of the other like attempted reboots of Blaster Master over the years, it might not be as awesome. I mean, I think it looks good, but it's too easy. I'd still say if you're a Blaster Master fan, I like it. But I mean, you're saying that the controls felt a little off for you, or not quite what you were looking for in a platformer.
Yeah, because and then they had like the the over the top segments, or the third person, I guess, view for a 2D game. There wasn't much of that for me really to comment on it, but I also just recently played Snipper Clips with my friend, the demo of that at least.
Did you demo it, or what did you do? Did you just demo it for now?
Yeah, I just played the demo because I thought it was going to be like $15, and then I looked on the shop and it's like 28 or something, and I'm like, I don't know if I want to buy this, because it seemed like a cute little eShop game, but then I'm like, yeah, this much money is not what I would want out of this.
I think he's Canada. I don't know if you have your Switch near us to check nearby to check, Eli, but like I'm pretty sure
it's our dollar that sucks.
Yeah, it's 20 or less in America, so you got Canada there, and that's a fair price.
Yeah, it's $20 in the States. It's, I don't know. That's a little. I'd probably expect like $15, but
20 is even a hair high, like in America. Yeah. But it's a really good game, and if you want something to play with someone else, that's like it's pretty worth it. It's one of those things where you admit it, it's worth it. But 28's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think I don't usually have friends over enough to like warrant the purchase, and I don't know if I'd like get my mom into playing it. So right. No point for me. It looks like fun. It was pretty fun, especially cutting up people. But there's some other demos I didn't get around to yet, to Sky and the Puyo Puyo Tetris thing. But what I did play a lot of was ARMS. I guess not a lot, because most of the times that they had, I wasn't available. I had like a wedding to go to and some work and some other crap. But I did play around an hour of ARMS, and it only took like a couple of minutes. Well, I don't even think it took that long. Once I started playing, I'm like, this is so much fun. I love this game. Even though I was terrible at the beginning, like I was just throwing punches and not really sure what to do. Like it took a bit.
I was worried there for a second. Your voice dipped, and I thought the big hate was coming. Like you were like, I only took a couple of minutes, and I'm like, oh, he's gonna be a hater. Like, oh man. All right, Eli, did you get to play it this weekend?
Yeah, but not for very long. I was just sitting around. I was busy on Friday and Saturday. I was just sitting around on Sunday, and I'm like, oh, I wonder when these times are. And it was like 2:15 p.m. And I looked on Twitter, and I'm like, oh, it's now. So I turned on my Switch and played for like 40 minutes.
Sure.
I mean, Matt can finish first. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, no, I was just curious if we had like a 3-way now that we can all talk about ARMS. Like, okay.
Yeah, we can have a 3-way anytime you want.
You guys are
get all of our arms messed into each other.
Yeah, I'm not
all
into
sorts of
Canadian or
places.
people from Michigan, so I'm cool.
Yeah.
So
No,
Matt, you liked it. I'm so relieved. I
yeah,
was
no, I really love it. I got to try most of the characters at least once. I think Ribbon Girl I didn't really get to try that much, and the Mummy guy I didn't really care much about. But no, I really like it. There's a lot of cool different arms or glove types. Some of them carry over with each other and have different attributes. But yeah, the characters are really cool and colorful. And so my main concern with this game was I thought it was going to be a pretty slow game. And that was mainly after like the first trailer, which I don't think demoed the game well. And then after, some other people released videos and it looked much faster. But no, it's so much fun. It's not slow at all. There's a bit of planning or whatever, but it just means you don't throw both punches at once sort of thing.
right.
So I don't know how you guys played. I actually played with motion controls because I was kind of excited to try it with motion controls because it seemed like the game that would be a lot more fun because it's like, okay, you have two dedicated arms. It would make a lot of sense to use both of your arms. And I actually played it in tabletop mode as well with motion controls. Yeah. So the funny thing is because it doesn't require, like the Switch doesn't have a sensor bar, it doesn't have to be in front of the screen, so you can punch like beyond the actual screen and it'll still work because it works via the other thing. But no, the motion controls work really well. I got dash and jump confused a lot. I don't know why. I guess something from Smash might be ingrained in my head or something. Just one of those things where I kept messing it up.
Or Bayonetta. Like Bayonetta screws with you, then Smash screws with you. It's like the same. Like then you have to rewrite everything in your head. Like, how do I...
I hope you can customize that. I don't think they will, but I'll probably just get used to it. But no, it's a lot of fun. The motion controls I think work really well.
Like, what was your win-loss experience? Were you getting decked most of the time? Were there modes you thought you were better at, worse at? Like, what was your reaction there?
I don't know. Maybe like 50-50 or something. Maybe like 60-40. Something.
What was your?
I don't think I was like great. I don't know.
What mode like the most, like out of all the different things that they threw at you, like what sticks out as like the most fun to you?
So I tried 1v1, 2v2, 3 versus 1, which is when you fight Headlock, like the boss character.
I didn't get to play this weekend. I missed that. Okay, right.
And then I played Skill Shot as well. I didn't get to try volleyball, but I tried the hoops one. So yeah, I guess I tried everything except for volleyball. Hoops was all right. I'm not really sure how to plan on, grabbing the other player, so I was kind of having a bit of a tough time with that. Skill Shot is fine. It is kind of cool that you can attack people from the other side and kind of like daze them or whatever, so you can have like an effect on them sort of thing. Sure. 2v2 is a bit chaotic. You're also tied to each other, so you can't move certain lengths. But 1v1 and fighting the Headlock guy, I think, are probably the best things.
Just to clarify, you're tied to each other, but I don't think it restricts your movement, like, unless I'm mistaken. It just that way because it's hard to move, like you're like a tank, but it's just showing you where your partner is. I don't think, right? Is that right, Clay? You're saying?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, because I felt like I could get really far away from my partner and be like decking them from the other end of the arena.
Yeah, I didn't have any problems with that either.
Okay, I wasn't sure. I thought I heard something like that, but
it's like a visual effect to like help you distinguish. It's so chaotic that it's like, okay, that rope you see between two characters, just to clarify for the listeners, when you're fighting four players on the screen and you have a partner, there's like a visual rope that looks like you're tied together. So you could think you were like actually like, or that there was some rubber band effect going on, but it doesn't seem like it. It's just like there's the other guy that's your team because it's so colorful. There's so much happening. It can be, and the rope barely helps sometimes. You're like, I can barely tell which one my partner is when it gets really crazy because it's happening so fast. But So you liked like what, one-on-one the best, I'm hearing, or like what did you think?
Probably one-on-one. That's going to be the meat of the game anyway. I did like fighting the boss because basically you have 3 versus 1 and he has 6 arms on him. So you got to try to knock him down before he kills all of you. And there's some cool power-up moves, and I kind of like Mechanica because the girl in the yellow robot suit, because when you jump or hover, I guess in her case, you can actually charge your arms and then actually
Right.
shoot from there. Whereas the other times, if you want to charge, you have to block. And I haven't really gotten used to blocking. I kind of forget to do it. So it's just some things I gotta get used to. But I'm having a lot of fun with it, and I'm definitely gonna buy it. So
Nice.
yeah.
Nice. Nice. I think the blocking thing, it's like it's just like Smash. It's easier to reuse because the mechanics are a lot like Smash.
Mhm.
If you block, someone can grab you. And so it's like literally just like Smash. Like block too much, someone's going to throw you. And I was winning a lot when I played the very first weekend by just remembering to block. Like literally, it's like playing someone who doesn't know how to block in Smash. And it's like, the second they figure out how to block, the whole game's going to change. But for now, you're just going to beat their head in, And it's like, then 15 minutes into the match, I think everyone else started to catch on, like grabs beat blocks. So it was like, okay, now every time I block, someone throws me. So now you have to it's just the same kind of rock, paper, scissors mentality Smash has kind of where you're like, don't block now strategically block, But yeah, exactly. Interesting, man. Who was your favorite character you played real quick before we move away from ARMS or move on to Eli or whatever?
Probably Mechanica or Min Min.
Oh, yeah,
I forget why Min Min. I think it was probably some of her arms. I'm pretty sure everyone will have access to all the arms, but I think it was just some of her arms I liked. I liked Mechanica because she has like the torpedo missile one, so it shoots out 3 different ones.
Yeah.
It's definitely good for the boss guy because if you get if you charge up your thing, then you can just wail on him like with a multitude of hits.
Cool.
But, yeah.
I wish I would have gotten to play this weekend. I had a really busy weekend, and I was even home the one time when it went live, but I had to leave the house pretty soon after, so I didn't get to try it. So I missed out on this boss fight and all that stuff. But I talked at length last week for anyone who missed it. I definitely liked the game, so it wasn't like a big loss. I knew I was probably going to get it at some point. So
yeah, just want to quick wrap up on the Switch. I'll just be quick. I made a pros and cons list. I'll just go with the pros because that will be shorter. So I thought it was going to be too small after I saw it at a movie theater, like in a display case, and I'm actually surprised it doesn't, like, it's still the same size obviously, but it's not as bad as I thought it was going to be. I still wish it was like maybe 25% bigger or something, just because it'd be a bit nicer to hold that way, but I really like holding it. The buttons are really nice. Everything works well. It's not really hollow or anything. It has a decent heft to it. So one thing I hated about the Wii U was playing on the gamepad because I feel like playing a larger game on a smaller screen just diminishes. I don't know. The epicness sounds stupid, but
sure. No, I know what you mean.
That kind of thing. The grandeur of a giant game, but playing on the screen, like even just playing ARMS, I think my problem was just the resolution, because the screen looks like really good in 720p, but for the size it still makes it look really good. So I could probably see myself playing more games like on the portable side when needed to. And I just love like holding this and like taking the Joy-Cons out and putting them in, because it just feels, they made it feel absolutely perfectly. Like,
right. Yeah, it
I
doesn't
can't
feel...
imagine. Yeah, they just did an amazing job with that. As stupid as that sounds, it just feels right.
Well, like, and yeah, we got to move on because like we got everybody else to talk about stuff, and I want to hear Eli on ARMS. We don't get too far away from that. But if you had like one negative, you said you had like a long list of negatives. Like we obviously, everyone knows all the pros and cons of Switch to some degree from all the media. But like for you, like what's the thing that sticks out? Like you sort of said like you wish it was a little bigger, but that doesn't sound like your biggest complaint.
No, that I can get used to. I'd probably say like there's a bunch of things, but I think the Ethernet port is really stupid because you're paying. They want you to pay for online, and they're saying like how committed they are to online, but they don't have the most basic thing about online, which is an Ethernet port. Now, I get it. When you're in portable mode, you're not going to be able to have that. That's fine, but it's supposed to be a 2-in-1 kind of system, so it should benefit from that, I think.
Yeah. It's a good point.
One last quick thing. Sorry. I think it's kind of ridiculous how a lot of the software things still haven't been fixed 3 months in. Like trying to navigate the eShop. I tried searching for demos and it didn't give me a list of all the games with demos, and there's no demo category. That's just really odd. You can't move tiles on the main screen or add folders or things like that. It's just like, and you can't add friends through social media or usernames. So it's just like, okay, come on, it's a couple of months in. Some of these things should be ironed out already, but
yeah,
I mean, they delayed their online services for another 6 months or whatever. So
I think
that's kind of
some
telling.
of the things you said about the eShop and some of the things like the user menu, I think their goal, whether or not they're going to change it, is another debate. In fact, I think, but like I think their goal was to keep it as simple and streamlined as possible. Like an eShop really reflects like that thought, because like when you look at it, there's almost nothing there. And I don't think that's entirely by like laziness or accident. You know, it's like they wanted to be this like super, super simplistic, straightforward. Here are the new games. Here's a menu of games. Click on it, buy it. They're like, you know, because that's really popular these days, like one-touch buying from Amazon, that kind of stuff. You know, like I get the impression they went for minimalist design in this with the idea that maybe we'll change it later, but not that it's broken, more like that it's an intentionally minimalist experience, like, which I don't love. I'd rather have it be a little more animated, a little more life to it, a little more music even on the home screen, stuff like that, you know, but it's blank. You know, it's blank background, it's games, and you can't reorder the titles. That they should allow you to do, and I do not get why. I mean, the idea is like, oh, whatever you played most recently will be on top. But, and that makes sense in a way. It's like, okay, eventually that's going to make a lot of sense when I have 30 games on this. Like, do I really need, like, my games that I bought at the very outset of the system on, like, do I need to move them around, or does it just move them for me? That kind of makes sense. It's like, well, you don't play it anymore. It's at the bottom, you know, like whatever. But I want to move them too. I agree. I'm like, what the heck? You know, so.
I don't mind minimalism. It can work. But I just think like they could still keep that style, just add a couple of things to make it more easy to navigate. But I've talked long enough. Eli, why don't you talk about what you've been playing?
Eli!
So I guess I'll do a little bit on ARMS. I'm not going to go as in depth, especially since I didn't like take the time to try out all the different characters and stuff. I just want to get the feel of the game, and I still feel like I need more time. I'm not necessarily super sold on it, and I'm not sure how much time I'd put into a game like this. I'll probably play through the single player, whatever that ends up being, but I don't really see myself playing this for hours and hours on end. I didn't even try with the motion controls. I just grabbed my Pro controller and played with that. So I had an enjoyable experience. Took me like half of each match of a new mode to figure out how that mode works. So for example, the basketball one, they scored 4 hoops in a row before I realized what's going on, and then I scored like 3 in a row, and I'm like, damn, I ran out of time. But I'm looking forward to trying out the full version. As I told you guys, I'm gonna buy it regardless. But I just don't think I don't see myself putting in a ton of time. Part of that's just the fact that I don't play a ton of multiplayer games. Like, I don't play a ton of Mario Kart online outside of like when I had to review it, and if I have friends over, I play with my friends. Same thing even with Smash Brothers. I'm just not really that much of an online multiplayer gamer, especially when there's no voice or no voice chat. So I don't really know how much play time a game like ARMS is going to end up getting out of me.
That's fair. I mean, we can change it for you. You got college and all that crap to take care of, you know, but it's like, I know me and Matt will be playing, so you'll always be welcome with us. Maybe we can change them over, Matt, like with our, like how much time we put into Splatoon and Smash and all kinds of other stuff. Like, you know, maybe it's a factor of like having someone who's bugging you to play with them or something. Do you think? Or is it more like,
I mean,
you know,
it's not like I'm adverse to it. I'd totally be good with coming on and playing with you guys. I just don't see myself going out of my way to turn on. If I'm going to play a game, I'm generally not the type of person that's going to go and play an online multiplayer game.
Okay, that's fair. Me neither. I can hear you on that. Like, that's part of my Nintendo romance. Like, that it's like, or bromance, or even like that it's like, that's something I love about games. But 90% of the time I do play games by myself because Nintendo doesn't specialize in multiplayer games for the most part. But then the weird thing is their most popular games in some ways are games that are multiplayer, like Kart and Smash and stuff. But, Yeah, I hear you. You know, I can break both ways. I don't tend to mostly play with random people. I will agree with that. Mario Kart was kind of an exception, but like the other games that Nintendo's
Well,
had online, I'll play mostly with friends.
well, the good news, Clay, is of course Nintendo's bringing voice chat to the Switch, so everyone will be able to. Just kidding.
Hey, I
Well,
bought an Amazon Fire this year. I'll be able to actually use whatever freaking app they come out with. So
You bought a what?
a crappy Amazon Fire tablet.
Oh,
So
dude.
oh man,
Oh, a
I
tablet. Okay. So
actually
you
have a way,
now.
like chat.
does it have Skype on it?
I could add it though. I haven't done it yet.
Literally,
Okay, good.
Skype
That's good
at
enough.
this point would be easier.
Well, that's
As
what
I
we've
wrote,
been using for Splatoon anyway.
yeah, I don't know if we'll talk about this, but I wrote an article
Yeah, we'll
about.
definitely bring it up.
Okay. What else have I been playing? I've been playing a little more Thumper, getting through that every morning, getting through another 2 or 3 levels while going to work. It's still very difficult. I think I'm through 4 or 5 worlds now. I don't really remember. It's challenging. But I still recommend it. And then I started I finished Horizon Zero Dawn on a
Nice.
PlayStation 4. It's
What was your hour count on that? Any idea?
maybe like 25 to 30.
Nice. Okay, so it's a shorter game, like medium short, like it's not an RPG length, like kind of game.
Well, I think it in this day and age is 25 to 30 hour games, pretty much like a medium length game.
Yeah. I guess you're right. Yeah, I said shorter. I meant like
Yeah.
not RPG style.
Yeah.
Well,
and,
yeah, and I didn't do a ton of side stuff. I kind of like most games I don't do a ton of side stuff. I kind of just go through it. I did some side missions, but if I were to go and decide to be a completionist or do more side missions, it could have easily been 40, 50 hours, I'm sure. But the game is really, really pretty. Like, it's really gorgeous. I can't imagine what it looks like on a 4K TV. Like, I wish I had one to see it. But the game is like, it's kind of wow. Like, when you first are dropped in the game and you look around and you see the landscape and the mountains and the colors, it's really impressive.
Nice.
I have a few gripes with the story. The story was interesting. And kind of like outside of the box maybe, but I had a few like gripes with how it was done in the way where it seemed a little bit like, I guess it's kind of weird saying it about a sci-fi game, but it seemed a little bit stretching,
That's funny. Yeah, it's like it wasn't realistic enough, and you're like, yeah, but it's a game with like dinosaurs and shit in it, bro.
Yeah.
About dinosaurs, yeah.
Well, I always the thing is I always accept the rules of the universe a game is set in, but if it begins to break rules within its own universe, then I think that there are issues. And a good example, I remember the last game where I had like a big issue like with this, even though I loved the game, was Ace Attorney X Layton.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
And I don't know I don't think either of you two played it.
I played the first one and I hated it because it was so freaking goofy that I can see where you're going with your complaint. But go on.
Yeah, so generally, I'm okay with Layton stories, even though they can be a little bit of a stretch, but they're okay because they function under the rules of the universe they're in.
Yeah.
But in that specific game, Ace Attorney X Layton, the way that they try to tie the story together at the end of the game and tie up the loose ends was not 100% okay in my book. There were definitely lapses in the game's universe logic. So once again, it's not about realistic or not. It's more like if you set up your universe in a certain way and you break the own rules that you set up, then I start to get a little bit weird.
If listeners have been listening a long time, they could go back to 60 episodes ago where I bitched about Layton bad because I love the puzzles. And I think the plots are so gosh darn freaking stupid that they make me mad. Very similar to, it was a great example you're giving there because that's how I felt about those games. These, you can't solve this. You can't solve this mystery. This is insane. This is made up, crazy 5-year-old wrote this story ending kind of things where I was really mad because I thought I was supposed to actually solve the mystery. And then I'm aha, I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but Layton loved the puzzles, but I was I gave up on caring about the story after the first one, and then the second one did that trick on me where I was come on, seriously, this doesn't make sense, whatever.
The quick thing I'll point out is that, or the what I'll finish with is that I still think the game is really Unfortunately, I had to take a break in the middle. I started playing Horizon after I beat Zelda, so maybe like April. So I was playing it through April, and then there was like a month and a half where I didn't play it at all. So coming back to it didn't have the same oomph as when I started. It wasn't as cohesive of an experience. But I do remember really, really liking it when I first started, and liking it a little bit less in the second half when I was kind of like finishing up the game. But it's still like really solid. The mechanics are good. Um, and I found it really enjoyable. And so with finishing that game, I started on Persona 5.
Nice.
I've only put in maybe 2.5 hours, so I'm not going to talk too much about it since I have yet to like even get into the first dungeon, really, other than like the tutorial dungeon that they have. But all I'm going to say is that stylistically looks really awesome. I love the style, the way the characters are done. They took a little bit more. I don't know if you played Catherine, Matt.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, so the style they adopted, and I don't know if you played Persona 4, but it's a little bit more akin to Catherine, I feel, the way that the dialogue is done and even the cutscenes. And I do like it a little bit more. I mean, part of that's the fact that Persona 4 is a PS2 game and then a Vita game,
Yeah.
but I just do like the style more that they adopted that presentation.
Yeah. It's a very striking style, the red and black design.
Yeah, and yeah, so I mean the style is different from Catherine, but what I mean is the way that they actually do the dialogue,
Yeah, the
and
tone.
the cutouts of the characters and stuff like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
Nice. Nice. You've been playing a lot of games this week. Like, this is a change up. Like, this isn't like I played nothing this week or I played one game for 5 minutes. You like just rattled them off there, man.
Well, yeah. Although, I mean, Thumper. So I'm always now that I have a commute. I have a 1 hour, commute every day. So I'm gonna
Yeah.
have time to play stuff on my Switch, obviously.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, and just got time. I finished off Horizon, started Persona, even though Persona was like 3 hours. So I'm really stretching how much I played. It's just a number.
Yeah, sure. That's cool.
Nice.
Right on.
All right. So, Uno, what have you been up to?
It's Beer Week in Philadelphia, and we have one of the biggest beer festivals in the country, if not the world, this week. Like literally every day, there's like 30 or 40 beer-related events, like every single day for a week. Started last Thursday, and then I had friends from out of town and family visiting, so I didn't play a lot of video games. I did make my friends endure playing. Well, we had a hilarious the one morning before we went out, like we played a game called BioFreaks on N64, which is not a good game. I knew it's not a good game. It was I have this fancy fantasy idea of like maybe doing bad game type video like type stuff like with my friends where I just make them play bad video games with me because I enjoy seeing their reactions and like us making fun of it, kind of just like this game's awful. Not AVGN like hating on it, more like I get a kick out of seeing people that don't like playing bad games play bad games because they're like, why are you making me play this? And I'm like, I don't know. It's awful. Like, I love it. But BioFreaks for N64 is not a good fighting game, at least not to the layman playing it like 20 plus years after it came out. It's a bad 3D type fighting game, somewhere between like if Tekken and like, not exactly Tekken, it doesn't have mechanics, but if like a 3D fighting game, yeah, Soul Calibur had a baby with like Killer Instinct is what kind of like game it is. It's not good. Played that for a while, had a lot of laughs, like because how bad it is and how goofy the combat is and shooting missiles and disgusting looking visuals and stuff. Other than that, I've been working on Zelda, and I'm not going to talk about that because we talk about freaking Zelda every freaking week. Yeah, I was thinking of buying one of the games on my Switch list this week. My Switch wish list. Say it 100 times fast. I didn't because I was like, no, I gotta really dive into some of the games I have. I don't like getting a big backlog on modern systems going. I like to buy and play. So not too much. I mean, I can report basically. Today, I was trying to dive in. A few weeks ago, I talked about BS Zelda, which is the broadcast system Zelda, which had a strange amount of resurgent popularity suddenly. I think because a few major YouTubers did videos on it recently. And so there was like this big interest in the broadcast satellite Zelda games, which If you don't know what I'm talking about and you missed those episodes, go Google it. Kind of obscure, but getting less so now that people have heard about it and they're patched and you can download them to emulators to play them. I have it on on my Super Eva drive, which is like a ROM cartridge I can put in my real SNES. And I was trying to dive into the Stone Tablets BS Zelda, which is the episode that is made in the engine of the Link to the Past engine from Super Nintendo. So it's, again, it feels like a ROM hack, only it was made by Nintendo. And it's all the assets of Link to the Past. These are all great things. And I'm really liking it. But there's something wrong. There's something very hacky about the Stone Tablets, whereas the hack I played of the NES Zelda had the save file structure. It's tough to describe in a nutshell, but long story short is people had to hack these together manually because these were never meant or were meant to be played after the original broadcasts when they were broadcast in the 90s and then in Japan only, and they were not recorded in any way for sale or distributed in any way for sale. People have pieced them back together and hacked up a structure around them so you can play them now. But there's something wrong with mine, sadly, for the Super Nintendo version. If anyone listening knows how to fix it for a Super EverDrive, I need help. And I've been surfing like internet sites trying to figure it out. The long story short is these were broadcast weekly. There's 4 episodes of each game. So it's almost like you're playing Link to the Past over 4 episodes. What it relies on is that you have to be able to open the second week's the second week game file, and it's supposed to read your save file from the first week. Now, it's a known problem, and everyone has this solution. You have to actually rename your save file so that the new game recognizes the save file. It's almost like getting your Pokemangs to travel into the new Pokemon, only you have to like actually hack the archive, the structure, the save file, change its name, and then the new game will read it. It's kind of like analogous to something like you could imagine having to do for that. Problem being is the solutions aren't working for my Super EverDrive, and I think it's specific to that way of playing the game. I can't get the save file to go over. So I've gone through week 1 twice, which is like an hour. You play for an hour, it's supposed to save your game, and then the week 2 you open up and you have all your items. And I'm bummed because I can't progress in the game. I can't get it to work, and I'm getting frustrated. I'm not going to go through it again at this point unless someone guarantees me they know how to fix it, because it's like you start the second week and it's not reading my save file, so the game thinks you haven't done anything yet, and I'd have to go back and do everything again, which is literally impossible because you only have an hour. You need to have finished stuff already to make it through the second week, and I can't. So it's a bummer, but if you're playing it on like an emulator or on a computer, Stone Tablet seems really awesome. Frankly, it's like I said, it feels a lot like a ROM hack of Zelda Link to the Past, only it was made by Nintendo, and it's made to be played in short bursts where you quickly run around the world and quick run and finish this temple, quick run and finish this map, and they're different maps, different areas, items hide in different areas. It's all the same items you're familiar with, but they're all in different areas, and there's different elements to the game, like timed events that happen in the Zelda map and things like that. So it's neat, but Super EverDrive might not be the best way to play it. You might want to play it on an emulator. So that's it for me. Yeah, it's okay. I'll live. I mean, I could probably get an emulator running to play it if I was dying over it. Yeah, the fact that I've gone through it twice, because I thought what happened was, and I'll wrap up here. I thought the first time the reason I couldn't get the save file thing to work was because I literally finished on the buzzer. It's a timed game. You have an hour to finish your quest, and they give you goals. That like the first week's quest is get 2 of the Stone Tablets, which are basically the Triforce in this game, and get this much money, this many weapons, whatever. And I literally, on the buzzer, beat the final boss of the second temple, and he was holding up the Stone Tablet just like he holds up a piece of Triforce, and my time out. And I thought it bricked the game, and I thought that's why it didn't save. That came to me like a day or two later. I was like, oh, like I created like a bug, like just by random chance. All right, I'll give it a couple days. I'll run through it again, and I'll be able to do it way fast because now I know where everything is. And indeed, I did it in like half an hour. And I'm sitting there and I'm just letting the clock run down and like doing other stuff. And then it looks like it's saved, and it flashes like it's saved. It makes it sound like it's saved. But then you have to take the card out of your Super EverDrive, which runs on it has an SD card in it, put it in your computer and rename the file is the instructions. It's just not working. I just don't know what's wrong, and I've banged my head against it enough that now I'm like, I think I got to be done and move on to another game. So it's all right. I'll live. So that's what I've been playing. I've been drinking beers and playing some Zelda and getting mad at the Zelda and going back to the beer.
Nothing wrong with that. All right, I'll fire off some quick announcements, then we'll get into some news. So Super Mario Odyssey is getting a demo station in Canada, at least in Mississauga. It's kind of cool. I'm guessing there's going to be more demo stations for this game all around the United States and whatnot, so I guess look out for that. This is the first time I've heard of demo stations for Mario Odyssey, so I'm sure more will follow soon. Indivisible is coming to Switch. I really like the game from the demo. I'm happy it's coming. Moving on. So EA promised they're going to bring a couple of sports games over, like a FIFA game. And yeah, of course, there's also, something, fingers crossed, or I forget, a little asterisk beside it. It's not running on some Frostbite engine, or the Frostbite engine, which I'm not surprised by, but they're also cutting out a bunch of modes, which is really stupid. I don't know why they're botching a version. It's not like you can't run the modes. I don't know. It's really stupid.
It's like I don't like sports games with soccer. I like enough that if it's like if I have friends that'll play it with me, it's the kind of game I would consider. And I never buy sports games. And I saw that and I was like, oh, bummer. It sounds like it might be a crappy version or something, but we'll see.
Yeah. But NBA Playgrounds, basketball game on Switch, if you buy before they release their online play patch, you can get Shaq Fu 2, which is really weird. And I don't know if that's much of an incentive, but I guess it's like if you're going to buy it, you might as well buy it earlier, I guess.
Yeah, that's funny because I want to read more about Shaq Fu 2, what they're going to do with it, because I am curious about it since Shaq Fu 1 is one of the legendary bad games of all time. So, I'm curious there. So, get 2 for 1. That's not a bad deal, even if NBA Jam or whatever they're calling it, NBA Playgrounds isn't my style. I did love NBA Jam in the arcade back in the day, but I don't think this is up to that level, from what we're hearing. So yeah, interesting.
And then North America is getting that Splatoon 2 theme Pro controller.
Yes.
I don't know. I guess they just operate on different timetables, even though the other 2 territories, whatever the districts, whatever countries announced it, they're like, nope, we're gonna wait for some random time to announce it. Whatever. I just find that stupid. But
maybe it's news. They want to have news. They space it out, maybe, or something. Is it? It's not open for pre-orders for that controller yet, is it?
I think it actually just did.
Oh, right on.
Anyway,
I should get after that. I should get after that. Oh man, that's crazy. Nice, sure. Nice. I love it. I love that awful pink and green. I love it. It looks hilarious. I'm serious. I totally like it. It's gonna be funny to have one of them. That's what I'm thinking. So
yeah. All right. So now into some news. Eli, should we talk about Pokemon first, or did you want to talk about the headset and online details?
Well, I can complain about the headset for a little bit.
Okay, go for it.
I mean, I wrote an article about it, and it's and then I got backlash about it, which ignored the point of the article. So we already knew that it sounded like voice chat would happen through the phone, through a smartphone or device, rather than through the Switch itself, which is idiotic. And we found out that, Hori is releasing a third-party headset. Here's how it works. First of all, there's this dongle. Looks like a squid from Splatoon. And it has 3 cables plugged into it. One of it's from the other one goes into the Switch, and the third one goes into your smartphone, right?
Yep.
I think.
It sounds insane.
Sounds right. So you've got this device that plugs into 3 different things instead of just plugging in a headset into one, and that's how you use it in this case. Now, I wrote an article saying that had Nintendo released this app, it could have been pretty clever. and intuitive. It would be kind of bringing Nintendo into the 21st century with cool online. But because it's exclusive to the app, it's just infuriating because there are obviously people without smartphones. There are people that don't want to mess around with 50 different cables. There are people that just want to plug in a headphone into their Switch instead of using their phone, because their phone they could use Skype or Discord or any other app for voice chat instead of Nintendo's online service. So it was just infuriating. I got some backlash, which is fine, as there always is. But I was just very annoyed. I was once again bringing up the case where Nintendo just screwed up by, instead of doing something, it's kind of like telling people what they want.
Yeah.
Instead of, I'm sorry, instead of, whoa.
Whoa. The frog is left all the way down your throat, my friend.
Ooh. Instead of, letting people choose what they want, Nintendo's telling people what they want. They're saying, well, you're gonna use voice chat this way through your smartphone, no other way, which is not the way you should be running something like that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that in one sense, when you say about the telling you what you want rather than giving you what you want, that is the Steve Jobs theory of how to run a good business. I don't always have disrespect for that. I mean, in this case, it's insane. I agree. It's just one of those things that I think Nintendo does think that way, and I'm I don't necessarily agree with it. It's just something to remember. It's well, that does work. Steve Jobs had to introduce the world to a bunch of things that none of us thought we really wanted a long time ago, and now it's things like iPods and iPads and what have you are all as common as the day is long. So, not that this is going to take over for voice chat solutions, no sir. But interesting. Yeah, this sounds nuts. I didn't even look at it. So that all these chords, that just sounds like the opposite of good. So that's a shame.
Yeah, this reminds me of when I would play Splatoon on the Wii U, because I would have
my
iPad beside me, and then I have my headphones hooked into my iPad because I didn't have Bluetooth ones at that point. And then sometimes I would have to charge my iPad. So there's one cable going from the outlet to the iPad and then to the headphones to my head. And then the Wii U gamepad also has an ass battery that is always half dead when I turn it on. So I also have that charging. So This thing, I get there's probably around the same amount of cords, but the difference here is you would have to have some dongle, which who even knows how long this dongle is and if you have to have even longer cables. But at least back then with the Wii U, even though that was annoying, it was just one long cable in one thing. This is you got to plug into one and then it splits into two. So you better hope the cable is long enough so that you don't tangle them together or all this other nonsense. It's really makes no sense.
Oh, about it. Yeah, who cares? Whatever. Voice chat's going to be awful for it. It's going to be complicated. Whatever. Sucks. It's still going to be an awesome game, but I hear you. It's kind of insane.
Yeah, and then so besides the voice chat part they talked about, they actually talked about their paid online service. So for one thing, it's delayed to 2018, which
Woo!
Is okay. I don't know why you're cheering there. That's not that great.
I don't pay. I don't want to pay. Say I'll
okay,
wait.
Yeah. So that's I guess the upside, that you won't have to pay. It's going to be free until whenever the heck they release it. So another 6 months, which
Sure.
I think is kind of bad for them, because I think once Splatoon launched and after a couple of months of that, maybe 2 or something, they probably would have had their paid service, and then all those people would still be paying. Whereas if it's 6 months later, Splatoon, the first one, still kept going strong for a year, but I'm sure you're going to have some people drop off. So that's probably not going to help, especially if they have a Smash later. I don't know.
No, that's probably that's what's in their back pocket right there. The Smash port that is not going to come this year, I don't know is going to come the next year, and then that's they know that they've got at least that in their back pocket, to sell you the online service.
Yeah. In my opinion, the clock is kind of ticking, because right now most of the people buying a Switch are people that already bought a Wii U. It's still their base, So it's people that know how to put up with Nintendo shit, you know? My concern is that once you get out of year one, like let's say next March, Nintendo has at that point shifted 10 million, 12 million units. You've already hit almost lifetime sales of Wii U. You're moving into a territory that is no longer people that will, bend over backwards to accommodate you. At that point, you've got to, Nintendo's got to do some of the legwork itself to make its experience modern and user friendly. And having a free online is definitely a great benefit, but lacking basic features like voice chat, I've always been annoyed with the fact that they don't have achievements, but I don't think that's going to change. But even something like My Nintendo that isn't crappy, all these sorts of features that someone who is playing a PS4 and Xbox One is going to be looking for. Nintendo's looking to expand its market, and it's not going for your mother or that ship has sailed.
Funny. It's not going for your mother.
Yeah, I mean that ship has sailed. Anyone who thinks the Switch is going to sell 100 million units doesn't think it's going to sell 100 million units because everyone who bought the Wii is going to pick it up. They think that it's going to have some sort of expansion of base for younger people, and then for hardcore gamers that already own a second system are going to be picking it up as well. So I don't know. I feel like Nintendo's running out of time selling to people that are willing to put up with whatever they give them. At one point, Nintendo's going to have to start appealing to a broader market and having a streamlined and modern online infrastructure, I think, is one of the first steps to make sure that's there.
I mean, I could see it breaking the other way. I hear what you're saying, and it's possible. I mean, here's their thinking. I mean, like just to play devil's advocate, their thinking is like, okay, so like our hardcore fans, sure, like you're saying, maybe people will be over the online, but like if the point is that the hardcore we buy whatever, like I mean you're the guiltiest person of all. Eli, for instance, like you openly admit like I pretty much buy every game whether or not I like it, or most games anyway. And that's representative of a certain segment for sure of Nintendo fans in general. I don't put myself out of that group, necessarily, who's a little too forgiving and buys almost everything of significance, that's like good, the reasonably adult games or anyhow. Those people are still going to subscribe to the online. So they've got us on the barrel. They got us. They got our money no matter when they release it. They're losing money, sure, that by not coming out this year. But for whatever reason, they decided that's a smarter thing. And then the other people are the gravy. I mean, like let's think of this. Like, sure, it's not your mom, it's not my mom. Hopefully, it's Matt's mom. Like coming in here, like buying the Switch.
Unoclay's hitting on my mom. He heard it here first.
Hey, you were the one talking about it earlier. I'm just telling you. But no. But it's other gamers. It's like, for instance, I'm talking to other friends who don't buy Nintendo products typically, who do want to Switch, or at least they sound interested right now, and they're all singing the blues that they can't get one. Those gamers are used to subscription services for other systems. And, if Nintendo's actually going to support their online system with, I don't know whether it's the smaller 8-bit and 16-bit retoolings with the online component, or whether it's the eShop, or whatever it is, their thinking could be, well, those people, they're familiar with an online service. Not all those people are going to be getting a Switch right now because they can't, and we don't have to worry about it. I mean, fundamentally, we know if Nintendo had it ready this year, they'd be launching it. And you're right to say, well, maybe there is a certain amount of pressure on them now. That's like, get it going, guys. You could be missing the target time frame you want to get. But they, if they want to deliver a quality product, that's probably the first and foremost reason that they're delaying it. Something's wrong, or it's not ready, or it's not where they need it to be yet.
They're probably still figuring out what it is.
Yeah, they are. I mean, that's very possible. They're still figuring out like how, like not even being ironic, like they're figuring out exactly what it's going to be. And that's the most important thing. I mean, like above all, they know they can't get it wrong. They got to get it right. So if there's a delay, clearly that's why. It's not because they don't want our money. It's because they got to get it right. So I hear you. I wouldn't worry too much about it. I mean, I think I do think people are going to buy it. The people that are going to buy it are going to buy it no matter what. And the people that don't, like, people that aren't, I don't know that like Splatoon launching now versus next year is going to be the big difference in terms of that. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
I don't want to pay. So like I'm psyched if they delay it a little longer. I mean, I know it's cheap. It's cheap. I mean, honestly, the prices they're quoting, it's like, who cares really? It's really cheap. But if they're going to give me online free for this whole year, I'll just take it and never look back. So
just to wrap it up, $20 a year is pretty cheap compared to the others that are 60. It might also reflect whatever quality they're going to put into it. So we'll see how far that $20 goes. And they also changed their classic game selection that they were calling. So before, they were saying you'd have one random NES or SNES game a month that you could play only during that month, and then they would revoke your privilege. Now they changed it, and it's only NES games. They said they're considering SNES games, but basically it's only NES games. Still, they'll add online play to it, but now you can, as long as you have a subscription, you can play them whenever you want, whatever. There's no 1 month rental hindrance or anything like that. So they either listened to people or they realized that what they were doing was stupid and fixed it on themselves. So that's, I guess, okay. The first examples that they're going to use are, or first ones are Super Mario World 3, Dr. Mario, and Balloon Fight. So we'll see how that turns out.
Confirmed that? I didn't know that. That's what's first. They've confirmed that?
Yeah.
I didn't. Yeah. That makes sense. All those seem like sensible choices to launch an online service with. So that's neat. Okay. Yeah. I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
Yep.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
And moving on. So we have some Pokemon news. I don't know if I'm really going to go over each one specifically, but I'll just announce them and then we can talk about whatever ones we want. Pokken Tournament is coming to Switch. It's in September. It's got all the Wii U characters. It's got the arcade ones that were the files were on the Wii U one, but they didn't release it for whatever reason. But the arcade,
I think it was in the arcade version, right?
Yeah, they were in the arcade version, and then someone found them like in the data files of the Wii U updates, but they didn't like actually update them for whatever reason. I don't know why. And they also added Decidueye, which is for Unoclay, one of the new starters from the new generation. Yeah, characters you don't care about. And then they have Pokemon Gold and Silver coming to the 3DS eShop on September, same day. And then they have Pokemon Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon exclusively for the 3DS. Seems like a Black 2, White 2 scenario where it's probably going to... it's not going to be the third version, which is just a slightly different story, but the main... So the third version it's mostly the same story, but they add a couple of different tweaks to it, whereas a direct sequel like Black and White 2 is a new story that takes directly after it and adds some stuff. I think it's that because, they show the legendaries with like different armor and stuff, so that would be after you find this other legendary, which you don't find until post-game, so it clearly has to be a sequel. It just doesn't have a 2 on it, but... Eli, what did you think of this Pokemon Direct? Because for perspective, I was working when this thing was posted, so I didn't really have any expectations. I figured like one thing was going to be announced out of several things, so I didn't expect.
Yeah, no, I was working when the Direct was going on too, so I was only looking for headlines afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm kind of in the same situation as you. I don't know what people expected. Like, people were coming off like, oh, it's such a terrible Direct. Oh, it's underwhelming. And I'm like, okay, they announced 3 games.
Yeah, I expected 1. I figured it was just a trailer for 1.
Yeah, exactly. So, and people were just expecting Pokemon Stars as, like, the main announcement. But in reality, why would that even be a big deal? I mean, that's a game based off of a game that's already come out. That's just the 3rd game. It's not, like, something new. It's not new Pokemon. It's not like it's not like a new mobile game, whatever it is. Literally, people were looking for the Switch announcement of the 3rd version, even though that in itself it'd be a big deal, but the game itself is not a big deal,
Yeah.
So I don't know what people were expecting. We got 3 great games instead of 1. I was surprised. I mean, I kind of had a hunch that they would be announcing 3DS games. I thought that it would be the remakes of the Sinnoh.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess this is fine too. I don't know yet whether it's going to be worth picking up. I actually never played Black 2, White 2. It wasn't worth it for me in my mind.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I'll be picking that up. I never played the original Pokken, so it might actually be worth picking up Pokken on the Switch just because I never played the original or bought it. And getting the free, I almost called it DLC, but the extra Pokemon will be nice. And then the last of all, the Virtual Console games, I am slightly peeved by the fact that they're not on the Switch. Now, I get the Switch doesn't have a functioning Virtual Console yet, but it doesn't really seem like it would be that difficult to get a Pokemon Color, a Game Boy Color emulator up on a Nintendo Switch. So I'm a little bit annoyed that the second-gen versions aren't coming to the Switch because I would have really liked to play it on there. At this point, I don't think I'm going to be buying those games on the 3DS.
Yeah. I kind of expected whatever game they were going to have would have been on 3DS and Switch, but if you go back to like Pokemon's history, they don't really support new consoles when they come out. They usually stick with the most popular one, and when it comes to new consoles, they wait several years before actually supporting it. So this shouldn't be that big of a surprise to people, especially with like coming off of not coming off of, but with the DS games, like what was it, Black and White launched on the DS when like the 3DS was coming out.
Yep.
So it's like, there's already been a precedence for this. Yeah, there's already been a precedence for this before. I think people just got too hyped about the Pokemon Stars rumor and that it was going to be a Switch version. Which does kind of suck. You can't have it on Switch, which is nicer. But I mean, instead of just getting a port with like 2 or 3 extra modes or challenges or whatever, you're getting like an actual sequel, so to speak.
And don't get me wrong, like Pokemon Stars is still probably going to come at one point. There's no way that, the Switch is the next handheld console. Mm-hmm. It's not like Nintendo's going to be releasing a 3DS successor anytime soon. And the 3DS is going to die at one point, mm-hmm. whether that's, 2018, early 2018, late 2018 remains to be seen. But at one point, Pokemon's going to shift to the Nintendo Switch. Mm-hmm. So it's just a matter of when rather than if. And it was never going to be this early to begin with. I guess November isn't that early compared to making an announcement now, but still. I mean, Pokemon Sun and Moon is still selling like hotcakes. We saw those figures. It hit, I think, 15 million within the first, 4 months, Jeez. 5 months, something like that. So it's just an insane amount. There's absolutely no reason they need to push the Switch version yet, especially when you can't find the Switch anywhere. Yeah, they've announced Monster Hunter. They've announced Dragon Quest, which are huge Japanese properties. You got Mario coming in the West and Mario Kart. Mm-hmm. I mean, they don't need to move that thing yet. Let's wait a year, you know? Once their Switches on store shelves to sell, then you can start putting out something like Pokemon. Yeah.
Plus, the 3DS still has how many units sold? Like 50 million or something compared to the
I think
Switch?
It's actually like 80.
Okay, well, it's something insanely high, and I know people are thinking the 3DS is basically dead, but it's still a huge audience that there was no way there was going to be any Switch exclusive Pokemon game. At best you would get one on both consoles. In this case you're not, but we'll get it eventually. If they do make remakes of the Sinnoh region, then that's going to be on the Switch, because by the time that comes along, then the 3DS will basically be dead. But I don't know if I'll get Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon or whatever. Like, I never really cared for getting quote unquote the second version, and I also didn't play Black 2 and White 2, so I don't know how much of a difference that is. I did say before that I would like to replay Sun and Moon with a different Pokemon team, because I think I chose a bad team, and there are a lot of other cool Pokemon I would have liked to use, but maybe I'll just ask for it for Christmas so I can play it, but I won't actually pay for it, kind of thing, because I'm not going to wait for Mario for Christmas, that's for sure. But yeah, I'm really stoked that Pokken tournament is coming on, because I wanted to get that on the Wii U, but I had a feeling they might have been porting it to the Switch, and then there were rumors, and I'm like, well, I don't really want to buy it, and if it's going to come over there, and blah blah blah. And I was right, and I'm glad, because they did add Decidueye, and I chose him as my starter or whatever, and I think he's really cool. He'll be a cool fighter. Plus, there'll be all of the arcade characters and whatnot. My only problem is I didn't want to pay $60 for it when it was on the Wii U, and now being on the Switch, it's going to be $90 for me. So I'm definitely not going to play it. So I don't know if I'll be. I probably.
Why is it going to be $90 Canadian?
Yeah. So it's $60.
Geez.
Oh wait, no, it's like $75 on the Wii U. Something like that. It's like 70 or 75.
Well, bro,
yeah.
I'm not extending to the listeners of the podcast, but I mean, like, you and me can always talk about like mailing them up to you or something. These are tiny little cards. I can take the cards out of the boxes and mail you the cards, bro.
The problem is that when you translate them into Canadian dollars, they're still.
It's the same.
It's pretty much the same. It's about 70 Canadian cents to a US dollar.
Oh, geez. Okay. Yeah,
so it's maybe like a 40% surcharge or 40% devaluation.
Yeah.
I guess technically 30, but when you go their way, you have to add 40%, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Forget it. Never mind.
Yeah. You basically have to get
nice,
like a really good...
because like your fast food prices didn't really adjust. So when I was in Canada for those 5 hours, we stopped for fast food a few times, and it was really cheap. Like, it was very nice.
Nice. Well, that's interesting about the Pokken tournament, because like my impression, not being the Pokemon player of the group here, is that it's like Smash Brothers sort of ish with Pokemon, and like that doesn't sound horrible to me. I mean, Smash Brothers already has Pokemon in it, you know. So I mean, I know it's Tekken style or whatever, but you know, if you were going to get it and I played a demo and liked it, then who knows what could happen there. But I'm not going to be buying it on my own.
Just like, pretend it's Street Fighter.
Yeah. Well, I don't love Street Fighter that much. I did when I was younger, but Smash kind of obliterated any
Just
character.
Pretend it's Smash Brothers, but with no Nintendo characters other than Pokemon.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, like that's half of the roster. Anyway, so I hear you.
Well, speaking of Street Fighter and liking Smash Brothers, there is Street Fighter in your Smash Brothers.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. True. Yeah. All these worlds are colliding. I think it's true.
All right. I've got to duck out. So
I was gonna wrap it up here. That was basically all the news. So you can find us at just another. Oh wait, no, that's at the end. You can find me at the Manga Viking on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and VidMe. Eli, where can people find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Paula Salon. You can find my writing on Nintendo Enthusiast. We're doing a site relaunch prior to E3, so look forward to that. On YouTube at Nintendo Network 64. It's going to get going again. I always say that, and then it gets going for like a month, and then it stops.
You're pulling a me where you're like, oh yeah, I'm definitely going to do this, and then 6 months later, hey guys, I finally launched a video.
Exactly. And I think that's all. So yeah, thanks for listening.
Cool. And Unoclay, what about yourself?
You can still find me making snarky posts over at my IGN as Unoclay1. And my Switch photo and occasional comment account is Unoclay_Switch. That's UNOCLAY _Switch. Go ahead and hit me up there if you want to be Switch friends. I like getting a few more people in my roster for some eventual online play.
Hey, Clay, will you follow me on Twitter again? Because I'm so butthurt.
I'll look at what you're posting and consider.
I promise no Zelda spoilers.
I'm done with Zelda. Nothing left.
Good call. Good call. All right, I'll look into it. I promise.
He'll get his people on it.
I'll get my secretary to look at that tomorrow. Thanks.
Yeah. All right, so wherever you're listening, you can find us at Just Another Castle on every platform on the internet. We should be back here on Tuesday, or I guess Wednesday by the time I post it, with E3 updates. So we'll be recording it the day of, or that evening of. So that's going to be crazy. It actually times out perfectly for once. So no 7 days go by and then it's like, hey guys, we're talking about news. But yeah, so we'll be there hot on the heels of that. So you can hit me up at the Manga Viking on Twitter if you want to ask questions or become a guest. So we'll see you next time and leave gaming to Nintendo.